beauty as a form of art, as a bright phenomenon in the world. Painting, watercolor, graphics, sculpture, art and crafts in the program Kazart. In today's program, Nelly Bube, an art of life and a life in art, designing the Bible in search of spirituality. Nelly Vitalyevna Bube, a self-made person, an artist, a woman, a mother. Her life in art is impressive, successful and original. And the art of life is striking examples of nobility, patience, diligence and purposefulness. Nelly Bube's rich life baggage will suffice for hundreds of pages of an autobiographical novel in which examples of stunning creative success have replaced periods of personal experiences and losses. And the time of searching, throwing and self-determination ended in peace of mind and the acquisition of a strong soil underfoot. The images of her paintings could adorn the pages of books on the history and ethnography of our country. Her work has long been the property of national museums and collectors of Kazakhstan, as well as foreign galleries, private collections of many countries of the world. But the most interesting is that in the 90s, in her work she anticipated those sacred, cultural and spiritual values, which will soon be discussed at the highest level. In her works, she expertly conveys the spirit that we cultivate. Now we talk a lot everywhere at all levels about the search for self-identity, about the preservation of the national code according to the leader of our nation, Elbасы. And this is right, it is necessary, but in order to preserve the national cultural code, it is necessary to save such works in museum funds. We must acquire them. She propagandizes our culture, our history, and does it with a great talent and skill. Nelly Bube was born in Karaganda in an international family in the summer of 1949. Her father is an engineer, a German by nationality, and mother is Russian, a brilliant embroiderer. From the earliest years, Nelly, like all children, loved to draw something, sculpt, make books with illustrations. Parents did not pay much attention to these. When she was in the 8th grade, her school teacher of the fine arts discovered potential of artists, and then she advised to work out in the studio. Well, I worked out for 6 months. Then he said to me, "You know what? Go and enter the art college." "Where?" "To Alma-Ata." "Oh no, they will not let me in." And really, they did not let me in. With tears, with fight, with shout, with roar, I have achieved this permission to go to study. And since then, I've been here. The trip to Alma-Ata proved to be a fateful one. In the art school, which at that time bore the name of Nikolai Vasilievich Gogol, the young Karaganda resident met the future spouse and guide in the life of Kazakh culture and traditions of Amandos Akanaev. He is now the most famous contemporary artist, laureate of the State Prize of the Republic of Kazakhstan, a Chevalier of the Kurmet Order, president of the Academy of Arts and founder of the whole Akanaev dynasty. And in those years, just a talented country boy. And soon the happy student family moved to live in the village to his mother. My mother was a craftswoman. She was such a master who knew how to sew clothes, knew jewelry matters, then she could make a saddle herself. Despite this is a man's job, she knew how to make it. She could make a wheel for an arba, for a cart, and could do it completely horse harness, clamps, arches, all everything. And here, for the city girl, a new difficult life started, and this city didn't accept her immediately. Well, of course, in a negative way. I was welcomed not with open arms, I tell you. Because firstly, I am not Kazakh. Secondly, a city girl who likes to play tennis and ride a bike. Well, what kind of a daughter-in-law I can be? Then, of course, when I already lived a year, 2 and 3, she always said that though her daughter-in-law is not Kazakh, but better than any Kazakh daughter-in-law. She taught me everything, and then I was obedient, executive. She had such a tandem with Nelly Vitalyevna. She learned from there everything. How to prepare these various children's things, basics, where the child is laid, blankets, and so on. Then naturally, in a conversation, all these things came to life. My mother studied Russian and Nelly learned Kazakh traditions. In general, everything was fine. Then we moved to the city, and there began another life. It was the life of a publisher, a book illustrator, a city dweller. Naturally, the experience which I collected in the village was useful in books. It was such a good, serious stage. Competitions, exhibitions, diplomas for books. The legend of the Golden Man. Along the ancient trade routes. Such good publications and all about Kazakhstan. Years passed, children grew up, time and people changed. Kazakhstan gained independence. Publishing house Joly, where Nelly Vitalyevna had worked for many years, was closed. Joint work with the spouse did not bring satisfaction, and somewhere in the soul, the self-sufficient artist was awakening. Each artist needs a separate space. When I felt that I was able to perform my own program, somehow realize my skills, my aspirations in art, I needed to separate space, because as they say, 2 mutton heads in one cauldron do not fit. One head had to go. This has only played a positive role in our relations. We are still friends, we have a common family, grandchildren and common tasks. But the spheres of activity in life are separate. I live here, Amandos lives in the city. It was necessary to go this way, to re-evaluate each other and our business and plans, and just give your soul to be satisfied with what it wants. Few people remember, but Nelly Bube broke in the artistic world of Kazakhstan with a series of environmental works on animals. An exhibition was organized, which received public resonance, but did not have commercial success. After all, her very first exhibition, she acted as a steep avant-gardiste. From improvised materials, literally from garbage, works of art were created, and it was a very interesting exhibition. And at the same time, Nelly Bube was immersed in the search of herself, went through Dianetics, astrology, and turned to faith. She found the faith. In such a divine beginning, and on the wave of such a spiritual discovery, she wrote a whole series of paintings, epilogues about Jesus.
Для себя духовного открытия она написала целую серию картин о притче об Иисусе.
And these works have made a real sensation among the biblical societies of the world. An unusual approach in describing known parables, oriental flavor and new attributes was so appealing to Europeans that these works were all sold, and the artist was ordered to write more paintings on the theme of the Old Testament. And here we see the recognizable handwriting of the artist, petroglyphs, a graphic approach to the design of the canvas, and our national flavor. So, for example, we see the secret in the evening, where quite the Eurasian people led by Jesus sit at the dastarkhan. In Asian clothes and next to the jug for wine, there is a torso, a Kazakh leather vessel for kumis. I use all my knowledge about Kazakhs, Turkic landscapes, Turkic symbols and colors. All that I once found, I put everything there. And this is exactly what I served as a great interest for Europeans. I was told by the Norwegians that they were tired of the patterned Americanized submission of biblical themes. Well, I do not know how true it was, but they needed the East, such fresh breath of the East, such bright colorful breeze. Now in Norway there are about 100 works of Nelly Bube on biblical themes. After Dora, this is the second artist who illustrated the whole Bible. And at the same time, there was not lost the most important thing, its facets. They also entered there. They are the same people, they are also recognizable. It is immediately obvious that Nelly Bube did it. It cannot be confused with some other things. Workshop of the artist, canvases, stretchers, brushes, dozens of unfinished works and projects of artists. Nelly Bube's amazing experiments with texture, material and color. The most favorite two materials are a sculptured paste and a napkin, and all the rest is born from the application of this whole theme. Napkin is such an amazing material, I was just shocked when I opened them. The use of such simple things as napkins or ordinary wallpaper that are pasted onto the canvas to give volume, texture and the use of relief pastes allow the artist to make interesting pieces that after completion turn into real works of art and immediately demonstrate the special handwriting of Nelly Bube. This is far from complete. There is no airiness, no lightness, no good drawing, but a process has been initiated. 3 shooting angles of Saukilye. A Saukilye itself is almost a sculpture. In fact, this hat is very interesting. And this is the work from the cycle The Great Silk Road. I wonder how the artist has found a way to create long, up to 7 meters of works that are collected from several paintings. They are compactly packed, which greatly facilitates transportation. And there is no need for a lot of space in the workshop. But collected and presented in any country, immediately attract the attention of the viewer and immerse in the world of our culture and history. Right now I have this picture before my eyes. We stand in the hall, and there are a few works of Nelly Vitalyevna on the wall. And there is a caravan depicted, because the Great Silk Road is one of her favorite topics. It seems it was in Italy, and some 2 women stood in front of these pictures and for a very long time did not leave them. So long that we could not stand it. For example, me, I approached them and asked them something. And when they realized that I could explain to them the essence of this work, they questioned for a long time. Were surprised, it was new and very interesting for them. It excites interest, it is a beautiful spot, and there is an interesting composition. No, it awakens people's interest in the culture itself, in history itself, in the regions. Nelly Vitalyevna, these are not my words, they were artists from China. 87 artists, they were Norwegians, in general there were a lot of foreigners. They were surprised that these pictures are on Kazakh themes, on topics of nomadic civilization, nomadic culture, and all these made by a person who is half Russian, half German. They were surprised. They expected to meet a Kazakh who is engaged in a natural continuation of her nomadic traditions. This surprised them, and in my opinion, still surprises. Female portraits of Nelly Bube. The expressions of these people seem to take us back to the past, so the women nomads, mothers, wives, and hard workers looked like these. Of course, the imagination of the artist worked on these images, but here is much more realism. After all, the young artist once saw old women exactly like these in the village of her mother-in-law. These faces remained in her heart, preserved in sketches, served as the prototypes for the creation of hundreds of such paintings. The fact is that I did not see this Kazakh culture in Karaganda, but I got to know it better when I settled down in the rural place, in the village. I saw grandmothers in these outfits, in colored coats, with these embroidered kimishek on their heads. What a beauty! I was so inside this beauty. It was a great discovery for me. It turns out that there is such a world. Not just ordinary grey clothes, but their own, national. In general, everything national in any nationality is so beautiful. Thus, a nomad, a woman mother, is born on the canvas, or a craftswoman. One of the favorite themes is about the craftswoman. Not just a woman mother, not just a beautiful woman. By the way, you won't find beauties on her canvases, especially such glamorous beauties. If a woman, then it's a hard worker, it's a needlewoman, it's a creative person. This is a woman who lives for the family, to reproduce the offspring in order to engage in creativity. The simple things of the Kazakh way of life so impressed Nelly Bube's imagination, because she had to learn how to cook various dishes in a cauldron, to make a felt along with her mother-in-law. Here, with such things as a cauldron or, let's say, a stupa, in which millet roast is pounded. This is a heavy pestle. It is a wooden stupa. It's just something directly from the paintings of some ancient artists. And that's all in front of me. And felting, and work with code. Everything captured my imagination, and I just started sketching it all, working at school and finding time for these sketches. And then, all this was useful to me in the book illustrations, and then in the pictures. For example, this luggage was collected since 1969. Now Nelly Vitalyevna is an artist of high demand. Colleagues jokingly know that her work is sold like hot pies. Nelly Bube's name was heard by connoisseurs of art in France, Greece, Turkey, Switzerland and Hong Kong. We traveled with her not the half of the world, but many foreign countries. And you know, she's in addition to being such a wise, balanced, reserved person, but at the same time, she maintains such childish spontaneity, the ability to admire beautiful flower, beautiful clouds, or some green grass that has grown in some special way. A man can see beauty in everything, in the smallest detail. And not only she sees it, she notices it, she rejoices at it, she admires it, she can turn it into a work of art. She once said a phrase that I very much remembered. She said it. It's such a deep phrase. It so touched my heart that from time to time I use it myself. She said that the artist is as a vessel. He splashes on the canvas what he holds inside. Nelly Bube's art attracts not only due to the original talent, mastery of creative techniques, gold and the brightness of the colors of the East, but above all, due to the purity of the author's worldview, special energy, and deep personal immersion in the world of nomadic culture.